The last thing Commander Ziak expected to see as his fleet pierced Earth's atmosphere was a massive banner unfurling across the storm-racked skies. Bold letters blazing, "Welcome to the end of your invasion." For decades, the Thean Empire had ruled the galaxy with ruthless efficiency, subjugating weaker species and stripping their worlds of resources to feed its insatiable hunger for expansion. The Galactic Council had long warned humanity that their days of independence were numbered, that resistance was futile. Yet Earth had defied them, brash, unyielding, reckless in its refusal to yield. The Thians called it madness. Ziak had been chosen to lead the invasion, a commander of such stature that his fleet, a black tide of starships, blotted out the heavens as it descended upon Earth. The plan was simple: a swift, overwhelming conquest, just as had done 100 times before. But from the moment the first ship broke through the atmosphere, something felt wrong. The sensation grew into a gnawing unease when an immense, gleaming vessel rose from Earth's surface, sleek and alien even to Tian eyes. It dwarfed their warships, its hull shimmering with an unfamiliar energy. Lieutenant Sol's voice cut through the stunned silence. "Sir, we're detecting a massive energy buildup. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Before Ziak could respond, a voice boomed through their communications, clear, calm, and chilling. "This is Admiral Hayes of the Terran Defense Force. You've chosen the wrong planet to invade." There was no fear in his tone, no desperation, only a measured certainty that rattled even the seasoned Tian commander. Ziak straightened. "Admiral Hayes," he said, struggling to assert control, "surrender now, and we will show mercy. Resist and face annihilation." Hayes laughed. It echoed across the Thian bridge like a death knell. "You misunderstand, Commander. We're not here to negotiate. We've been preparing for this day. Welcome to Earth, the place where your conquest ends." Without warning, the Terran vessel unleashed a beam of pure energy, slicing the lead Tian battleship clean in two. Chaos exploded across the command deck, alarms blaring, emergency protocols flooding the displays. "Return fire!" Ziak roared, but even as the words left his mouth, he knew it was futile. The human ship moved with a grace and precision that defied every law of space warfare the Thians had ever studied. Plasma cannons lit up the void, but the Terran shields absorbed each blast with ease. Then more ships rose from Earth's surface, sleek, deadly, and terrifyingly advanced. "Commander, we need to regroup," shouted Zol, his voice barely audible over the cacophony. Ziak's mandibles clicked with rage and disbelief. Retreat was unheard of, but this was different. "All ships fall back to the rendezvous point. We need to reassess our strategy." As the Tian fleet hastily retreated, the Terrans did not pursue. They hovered in tight formation, silent, unyielding. Ziak paced the command deck, his mind racing. "How did we underestimate them so drastically?" he muttered. "Sir," replied Gull, analyzing the data, "they've been advancing in secret. Our intelligence was outdated. This level of technology, it's unprecedented." Ziak's eyes narrowed. "Prepare a message to the Emperor. We need reinforcements. This is no longer a battle. It's a war for survival." Yet as he gave the order, doubt crept in. What if even reinforcements weren't enough? What if humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had become the dominant force in the galaxy? On Earth's surface, Admiral Hayes watched the retreating Tian fleet with quiet satisfaction. "They'll be back," he said to Captain Roar, "and when they do, we'll be ready." Roar nodded. "They won't know what hit them. Our energy weapons performed better than expected." "They did," Hayes agreed, "but we can't get complacent. This was only the first wave. They'll return with more firepower. We need to remind them that Earth isn't just a planet, it's a fortress." As he turned to leave, Hayes paused before a screen showing the retreating enemy. They thought they could take us by surprise. They thought we were weak. Today, they learned how wrong they were. The room fell silent as he walked out, the weight of the coming war heavy on his shoulders. The Thians had started this conflict, but it would be humanity who finished it. Earth was ready to fight, and the day humanity answered would be remembered as the turning point in a war that would reshape the galaxy. And for the first time in galactic history, it was humanity that held the upper hand. Within a week, Tian reinforcements arrived. A vast armada, hundreds of warships strong, filled the Terran fleet's sensors with a relentless cascade of data. On the bridge of the TDF Resolute, Admiral Hayes studied the incoming fleet, his jaw set. Commander Ziak's message must have been convincing. ROR remarked, scanning the screens. That's a lot of ships. Hayes nodded grimly. They won't underestimate us again. This time, they'll throw everything they've got. He turned to his comms officer. Send a message to all ships. We hold the line here. No one retreats. This is our home, and we will defend it. The reply came instantly, voices from every ship, every crew member echoing the same conviction. This battle was not just about Earth anymore. It was about humanity's right to survive, its place among the stars. Aboard the Emperor, the Thaian flagship, Commander Ziak stood with his eyes fixed on the Terran formations. The humans had arranged their fleet with brilliant efficiency, exploiting every inch of planetary defense and high orbit advantage. They've set up a strong perimeter, noted Exol. Breaking through will be costly. Ziak's mandibles twitched. Costly or not, we have no choice. The Emperor demands victory. Prepare the fleet for a full-scale assault. The void between fleets ignited in a hellstorm of plasma bolts and energy beams. The Terran ships fought with unexpected tenacity, their movements precise, their counterstrikes devastating. Hayes watched from the Resolute. Deploy the drones, he ordered. Let's see how they handle our newest toys. From the hangars, swarms of combat drones erupted into the battlefield, sleek, fast, and ruthless. Each one operated with autonomous AI and cutting-edge weaponry, tearing into the Thean lines. Drone strikes are effective, reported Kaminsky. We're crippling their smaller vessels. Good, Hayes said. Keep the pressure on. We need to break their momentum. Ziek, on the Imperator, stared at his tactical display. Their drones are wreaking havoc on our lines, reported Incool. We need to adapt now. Concentrate fire on the swarms, Ziek snapped. The Thaian ships began to take down drones, but the cost in ships and lives was staggering. They've anticipated every move, Ziek growled. How have they come this far so fast? We underestimated them, Sol replied, and now we're paying the price. The battle became a brutal contest of endurance. Humanity, once seen as prey, was fighting like predators, unrelenting and brilliant. Back on Earth, billions watched. In bunkers and command centers, military leaders coordinated support. In one such bunker, General Marcus Steele reviewed the situation grimly. They're throwing everything they have at us, but our fleet is holding. For how long? Someone asked. Steele's voice was steel itself. As long as it takes. We've come too far to lose now. Up in orbit, Kaminsky's voice broke the tension. Sir, we breached their second line. They're pulling back. Good, Hayes replied. Keep up the pressure. Break their spirit. On the Imperator, Ziak was unraveling. This cannot be, he whispered. How are they doing this? No one had an answer, for the Thaians had never known failure, never imagined defeat. Now they were living it. Still, the battle dragged on. Ships burning, crews dying. Hayes ordered the most damaged Terran vessels to retreat, while the rest held the line. The Thaians, sensing an opening, focused their fire on the Resolute. They're trying to take us out, Kaminsky shouted. Let them come, Hayes said, eyes blazing. Prepare for close quarters combat. The Resolute unleashed a storm of fire. Thaian ships closed in, but Hayes stood firm, rallying his crew with unflinching resolve. We're not going down without a fight. On the Imperator, Ziak's resolve finally broke. Commander, we must withdraw, urged Zul. We can't sustain this. Ziak hesitated. To retreat was to admit defeat, a concept alien to Thean pride. But as the data poured in, there was no denying it. Order the retreat, he said, his voice heavy. We'll regroup and return stronger. The Terrans didn't pursue. They simply watched as the mighty Thean fleet fled into the void. We did it, Roar whispered. We actually did it. Hayes nodded slowly. This battle is ours, but the war is far from over. And as Earth erupted in celebration, its people cheering the fall of an empire once thought invincible, every leader, every soldier, every citizen understood the truth. This was only the beginning. The real war was still to come, and when it did, humanity would be ready. Continued in next message.